Oh my god.
I like my job.
Hey Zion. Bro, you said you was up to this. Come on now. Oh my goodness. This is so cool. Like, you are the first and only driver who has done some, like, I appreciate it definitely very much.
Hey, when I was younger, I was enthusiastic about that stuff, and you know, you can a lot of times you'll run into some folks who like, and I get it to an extent that you know, public facilities and stuff, you're gonna occasionally run into people who are doing things that are suspicious, like you know, filming transit vehicles and stuff.
Yes.
But there's a pretty clear line when that's somebody that's passionate about it, and when it's somebody that's doing something nefarious. Like, there's a difference between those two people. And I mean, you know, it was people that were also passionate about it when I was young. Like, there was a United employee in Chicago here, and like I was taking pictures of planes, and he's like, "Do you want to come see the Ram Tower?" And I was like, "Sure." He's like, "Do you want to go inside a 777 before it leaves for Tokyo?"
The Boeing 777.
Yeah, it was a 777, and it had been prepped to go to Tokyo. And they were just about to start boarding, but he's like, "I bet I can get you on there real quick." And he's like, "If you want to put on a safety vest, we'll walk down and we can get your picture in front of the engine and stuff like that." So, you know,
like, my passion for IndyGo buses, it started when I was a young kid. Like, my mom was not able to drive because she done something with her leg. My dad lives in a whole nother state, so we would usually take the bus.
yeah.
And, I mean, she had me at St. Vincent's Hospital, and we took the bus from St. Vincent. And I don't know, I think it started from there.
Yeah.
Like, I had these coloring books, I would be drawing buses on there too. Yes. And then, I grew up a little bit. I started learning about the engines, how they work.
How you doing?
Like, how they operate.
Afternoon, young man.
Thank you very much.
And at first it was definitely confusing. I got used to it. My favorite engine, the Cummins ISL from the D40s that IndyGo used to have.
Yeah.
And my favorite transmission was the B400R, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. Balance.
Yes. Also my favorite transmission. Been ecstatic about public transit ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. What's your name?
My name is Clay. What about yours?
Funny story. I've commented on your YouTube.
So that was you driving that bus around, right?
Yeah.
That was you.
I looked at my logbook and I was like, yeah, that was me. I pull out my old logbook. Yeah. I was like, it was early in the morning, and I used to drive the 18 early in the morning. Because I would always put the smiley face on there. And so I figured that it must have been me driving it.
It's crazy. Because I was like, dang. Because most of the drivers I meet with, you never meet up again unless they're regularly on the route. I had this one driver, he would always drive the 86, and I would always hop on the bus for fun.
Yeah.
I would always see him.
What's his name?
I don't know. He was a old Mexican dude, always drove the 86.
Okay. My bad. How you doing?
Let's broke out this.
Transfer today?
Yes, sir.
Like,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How you doing? Thank you.
easy. I don't know, but every time traffic would get bad, or every time you was late, you would find shortcuts, and they always work. And they always work. And he would find some way to play it by the book, but also get places quicker.
Yeah.
I mean, on 86th Street, like where it gets like a little more rural, not rural, but like I don't know, towards Zionsville, you will always haul on that high, like on that highway.
How you doing?
Oh man.
Thank you.
He told me some stuff about the buses. He was driving this 2010. I was asking him what was wrong with the side destination because it wouldn't turn on. It's like, I don't know, I think rock hit it. I was like, well, I remember him. I never saw him again because they did that purple line stuff and the 82 stuff and they did all the switches.
Caucasian male. Of note, he has on a red shirt, red and black shoes, black, white, and red, biker style shorts. He was pushing a wheelchair. Also has a black jacket and green color heart-shaped glasses. Last seen at the CTC in the downtown area. Man for disorderly conduct and acting out very volatile. Please do not allow the subject to board any of our buses. Text message will follow the alphabet description. Controls clear at 2:37.
Man, you have you heard that one dude that put gasoline on that BYD?
Yeah. I saw the tape.
You did?
Yeah.
Did anybody hear it?
No, he did. The guy
Wow.
sprayed him because he lit it on fire in the front. So.
Why? I don't know why he decided to light the bus on fire.
So he was, he's been a regular prop. It was not his first time causing problems on the bus, and he had been banned for the day by dispatchers when this had happened, or before this had happened, and he was so upset that that's when he decided to come back with gasoline and torch it. So, but he won't be on the bus.
Oh yeah, I think they caught him and they put him in jail.
Yeah, he's gonna be in jail for a long time. That's $1 million at least.
Damn, that sucks. Well, no, I thought that the Gillick's cost less than the new Flash. I thought this was like a $300,000 bus.
The standard Gillick diesel is about $400,000 the way we auctioned it out. The hybrids are around about $800,000. And then the BYDs are about $1.1 million a piece. So,
I mean, honestly, who wants a hybrid bus? I mean, the diesel buses sound way better.
I tend to agree with you, but it's the whole thing of, that bus will recoup that fuel cost easily over its lifetime because it's, they're just so much more efficient than the diesels. But I will miss these diesels when they're gone. They're good buses.
Wait, they're replacing all of them?
Eventually, yeah. As they start to age out, they'll just replace them with hybrids. Really, the only contingency that we would need to keep diesels for is the Route 26.
The Keystone route, right?
Yeah. That will be the only route in the future service plan that has overpasses too low. Have a good day.
Why the 26?
Hello. How you doing? Would you like a transfer today? Thank you.
But why the 26? I thought it would,
So the 26 has a bridge on Sherman Drive that's 10 foot 9 inches tall.
oh yeah, the hybrids can't get over that.
So this can barely fit, but the hybrids would definitely take the electric motors off the roof. So we do have to keep some diesels at least for a while, but like the 2020 buses won't even, they aren't even eligible to be retired until 2032. So those diesels will stay around for quite a while. Obviously everything else will start to hit its 12 year and then be replaced with hybrids. So, like the 2500s are replacing some diesels, but they're replacing some of the 10 and 13 hybrids too. So kind of a mixed bag. We're replacing old hybrids with new hybrids, but also some old diesels with new hybrids.
So, New Flyer stopped producing the D40, right?
New Flyer what?
They stopped producing the D40.
From what I've heard, they're doing stuff.
I thought New Flyer. I thought they would keep producing the D40 because it was so good.
Yeah, I mean it's all about what transit agencies want and not so much what drivers want. I think if it was up to drivers, there would be a lot of things that would go differently in procurement of transit buses. I'm sure you've heard before, every driver would love to have a cup holder out here. Like that's one thing that like clearly was not thought about on any transit bus. Like IndyGo is starting to order new barriers that have a cup holder in the side of them. But you know, for the most part, like it's pretty clear the driver is there to do a job and not to have any comfort items in the area.
So with the barriers, like in big cities like California and New York, they have problems with like assaults on like bus drivers, like people throwing cuts at them.
Yeah.
So do they have that same problem here?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, it happened to me on Thursday.
On this Thursday.
Yeah.
Why?
I had the older barrier lady. She was cussing on the phone. I asked her nicely 2 or 3 times to stop. She didn't.
She definitely didn't appreciate that.
So I was like, I popped open the doors and they said, hey, if you can't follow policy, just get off the bus, cool off, and catch the next one. Like I didn't want to ban her for the day because I understand people are going for stuff.
Yeah.
So I tried to give her a chance, just like, hey, pop off, catch the next one, 30 minutes, no worries. But, you can't be cussing on my bus when I got kids, especially, she said she wasn't going to get off, started pointing at my face, whatever.
Well, are you okay?
Oh yeah, she threw her lemonade at me. My legs were soaked. So 243, right? 242.
We're finna go to the airport. I'm finna see if they gonna let us ride, but if not, then we go back. I mean, it's just crazy how some people only care about themselves, and they don't.
Yeah.
I can't even believe that.
I mean, I try to give people a second chance, and I was trying to give her the opportunity she could get off and catch the next one. Once she had taken some time, but she was not interested in doing anything about it. So it is what it is.
Turn it down, Zelio.
Comes with the territory,
So does that? I know that the new hybrids have those big drivers, like those big shields. Are they like such a hassle as like these ones are?
So the thing I appreciate that IndyGo did, they presented us with a couple different options for shields. So they put one of each on one of each of the options on the new hybrids. They said, you can go in the garage, try out the shield, see how it feels. Try it out. You can start the bus, give each shield a shot, see which one you like better. So they let drivers choose which barrier they want. So I wouldn't say it's a hassle because we ended up being able to pick the one we liked. And if you sort of range everything from very little plexiglass covering you to being all the way up to 90 unit if you want that level of protection. But for me, most of the time, I don't want anything here. And the thing I like about
it's not like a blind spot?
No, with the new one, no. Like the one that's tied back here, I don't use that one because it does create a blind spot for me. With the new one, I don't have a problem with it all because I can put the plexiglass back far enough that I can see what I'm doing just fine. So. But the nice thing is, if somebody does come up on you, there's just a little slider on your side of the glass that you can push forward, and it covers pretty much all the way up to the fare box.
Do you know why? Well, I noticed in the Advantages, their windshield wipers, they both went up to the middle. Do you know why the BRTs happens?
That would probably be a question for the guy who designed it. So I don't really know the answer to. But
I don't know why they do. IndyGo, I don't understand why some of the buses have very different meters. So I noticed on the older buses they have smaller meters. On the newer buses they have bigger meters.
so that's based on parts availability. So if they're replacing the mirror on like a 2020 bus that's supposed to have the long vertical mirrors, but we don't have that part, obviously we're not just going to let the bus sit in the garage because we don't have the exact same kind of mirror that came with the bus. You can put this mirror on, the pod mirror on just fine, and it works okay. Basically, the mounting unit is the same. It's just the design of the mirror that changed. So you can hook any mirror on any bus really, and you'll see some buses that still have the Nova mirrors on them. So it's like when we scrap the bus, we basically we'll take all the parts off of it that we can. So
See that I noticed whenever some buses go over those big potholes, the bus just starts beeping.
yeah, that's the RAM. They can't decide whether it's going to stay latched or not. I probably just need to hit the manual release on it and then latch it again and like that.
I don't understand why it does that. Wait, so these things run off of air brakes, right? These run off of air brakes?
Yes. Yeah.
I thought they run off of regular brakes.
No, these are air brakes. They're actuated, and they've got a spring brake that'll pop up if the pressure gets too low. So you can see the gauge right here. We're running about 130 pounds.
Wait, so is that orange thing where you get to see the stop requested thing now? Is the stop requested that orange button?
Yeah, the top one. This is the bike rack, which most of those don't work. So a lot of the times, when they first put these bike racks on, you put a magnet on there so that when you pull the magnet away, it would short the circuit essentially, and then it would send a signal up to the light that the bike rack's down. And a lot of times, depending on how you sit, like I sit up at the top of the seat, like this won't go up. That seat is all the way up to the top of the track. But some drivers who sit down lower, you can't tell if that bike rack's deployed, you can't see it. And so for a safety thing, they started putting magnets on the racks so that when they fold it down, it would turn that light on so you knew the bike rack was down. Because of course it makes your bus about 5 feet longer. So.
How come bus drivers get so upset when somebody forgets to put the bike rack back up?
It's mainly, well, I would guess I don't really get upset about it. It's, at worst, it's an annoyance. But for the most part, it's, you're going to have to get out and fold it up yourself, which if you're running tight on time, like that can be something that irritates you just a little bit. But for me, it's not a big deal. I understand most people. There's a lot of people out here who you'll be out riding your bike and you'll get a flat tire. You've never taken a bus before, so you look up how to ride, but you don't necessarily have time to look at the bike rack, explainer video on how to do it. So they won't know how to put it down. They won't know how to put it up. And I'm fine showing people how to do that because that's part of the job. But
Yes.
for the most part, I think it's don't want to have to get out and fold it back up. Because if a supervisor sees you riding around with the bike rack down, the bike on it, they'll tell you to put it back.
How come transit agencies, well, I think IndyGo specifically, how come they give sad drivers that run early rather than late?
How come they what?
How come they get upset at drivers that run more early rather than late?
So it's mainly about like schedule. If you're looking at a schedule, if the bus is late, it's not really a problem because you're already out there. Like, but if a bus is early, it probably is a problem because you might not be out there yet. You know, especially if you're making a connection that's pretty tight. Like if you're going from the 26 to the 8, you want that connection to work well so that you don't miss a bus and you have to, you know, be stuck out in Washington for 4 hours on this. So it's more of we want to make sure our riders make the connections, and if you're running early, there's more of a chance that you're going to miss that connection with another bus. So they want you to run close to on time more than anything. It's not like they want you to run late, but they understand things happen out here, and we do run late. So, like this trip isn't bad. I'm usually at a pretty relaxed pace on the 56, especially on Sunday. There's not really a lot going on the southeast side on Sundays, and there's not a ton of ridership out here on Sundays either.
Those could, I don't know. Now, tight connection. So like, you know how the 82 and the red line, they go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
So tight connections for my so those are usually the routes that people want, like that IndyGo like makes more strict about, you know, being on time about, right?
Yeah. And they're in general, they're really strict about schedule adherence on the red and the purple line. Just because the red and purple line are kind of like they're new to the region, right? Not a lot of people have BRT, and especially in the Midwest, or BRT that's at the level of that. And so, like, when people come out and see it, you don't want to see buses bunching. You don't want to see, you know, one bus is running 5 minutes early, then it's running 15 minutes late, and then you've got a huge gap in the schedule, right? So, what you do is you try to eliminate that. You want the buses to keep right on their 15-minute gaps at stations, and that way, you know, when somebody comes out and they're expecting the bus within 15 minutes, there actually is going to be a bus within 15 minutes. As you know, for the red and purple line, we don't publish schedules for those routes anymore. It's just you come out and you catch the bus because it's every 15 minutes. It's every 15 minutes from 5 in the morning until 1 in the morning. So what you need to do is run up to the time point. Because they don't want you to fly up around the corner, sit at the time point, and then kill your time. They know you're going to get close to your time points early, but they don't want you to come up here and sit, because if somebody like is coming out of the program here and they see the bus is already sitting there, they're going to think, well, I missed it. You know, it's about to pull off. But if you're sitting back there, they'll walk up to the stop, catch it, and everything's fine. You know.
What was I thinking? So, are they strict about the layovers?
Not really. I mean, to a point. Like, if you leave 4 minutes late from your layover every day, they're probably not going to say anything to you. Especially if you catch it up on your route, because there are a lot of routes that have some significant padding in them. But like, if you're sitting at Meyer and you're sitting there 15 minutes past the time you're supposed to leave, so now the other bus is in front of you, and it's picking up all your folks, then that's going to be a problem. Especially if it's random. Like, they understand, they give you a lot of leeway if it's just occasionally, like when you have to run to the bathroom or whatever. A lot of times the layovers aren't long enough for that. But if you're doing it every single day, it's if you want to see something cool, if you look, I don't know if you've noticed this before, if you look down this corner, this is where the English Avenue streetcar used to turn around. The streetcar rails are poking out of the street there.
Speaking of rails, so I heard that Indianapolis is supposed to do light rail, but like something with the government or the Indiana government, they decided to. What happened with that?
So, what the state legislature said was, if you're going to improve transit in Indiana, if you're going to raise taxes to improve transit, there's put a provision in the bill that says you cannot build light rail in central Indiana. So South Bend can do it, Gary can build light rail, Evansville can do it if they want to. But if, like, one of the provisions of raising the local income tax for transit in Indiana was that the Republican legislators said you can't build light rail as a part of it. And really, there's no good reason for that, other than a lot of them get big donations from car dealerships, and they want to protect their donors from losing money to people who are switching to transit. So it's a little bit goofy. It's a lot goofy, actually, but we can still build like a heavy rail commuter service as long as it was a heavy rail train. And, like the South Shore Line in Northwest Indiana, that's heavy rail. So you can build something like that without a problem. The provision just prohibits us from doing light rail in streetcars. Heavy rail is still fine. Passenger rail is fine, obviously, because that's there already. But just that weird provision. They put a few weird kickers in there just to try and catch IndyGo and sort of a crap. But
so, how do you feel about IndyGo not connecting to any other transit? Well, I know they connect to that connector transit agency or whatever. I know.
So we're connected to two. We're connected to CERTA, which runs buses to Plainfield and Whitestown. And then we also connect to Access Johnson County, which operates fixed route service in Johnson County. They run to Franklin, Greenwood, and Whiteland.
So they run minibuses. How do you feel about? Well, I think the reason that we don't connect to any other like transit agency with 40-foot buses is because they just, like Carmel, for example, I just don't think they have a transit agency.
Yeah, that's essentially it, and it's like transit in Indianapolis especially is very politicized. So, like, any time you want to run transit outside of your city limits, you essentially have to get a permission slip to do that. IndyGo has offered to run fixed route transit in Hamilton County before, even further out. So,
well, Carmel and Indianapolis definitely have their beef.
Yeah. Like IndyGo, every time, like if you look at old operational analysis, it's a mouthful, of the old IndyGo, like I think we did a COA in 2005 or 2007, and it proposed having service in Hamilton County with like 6 routes serving Carmel, something like 4 routes serving Fishers. We ran the commuter buses up there for a while. Like, it's certainly something that IndyGo is interested in. It's just something that Hamilton County is not even facing. And because they're a separate government, that's their prerogative. If they don't want to pay for it, they're not. They don't have to. So it's unfortunate because it should be connected. It should be a connected region that, has transit that take you to every city in the metro. But unfortunately, that's not how the politics work out. So
Yeah. How do you feel about the fare invasion that goes on the red line and the purple line?
I think it's a product of some unfortunate, socio things. There's obviously a lot of people struggling right now. Really don't have the money to pay the fare. But I think the way that we've tried to combat it by giving bus pass grants to nonprofits that deal with folks who are struggling. I think that helps a lot. And having non-law enforcement, fair enforcement, they can encourage people to pay. But at the end of the day, it's not a huge concern for us if we don't get the money.
Because y'all get paid by the government, right?
Yeah. Riders. So